Balinese roast pork with grilled beans and golden rice. Pit roasted pork in the style of the Yucatan. This one explodes with flavor. And a South Carolina pulled pork with mustard sauce. This is what barbecue is all about. It's a pitmaster's dream come true. Pork shoulder roasted to smoky perfection. I'm Stephen Raichlen, and from the beautiful Tubac Golf Resort near Tucson, Arizona, it's time to fire up the smoker. For a lot of pitmasters, this is the ultimate cut. In the American South, barbecue means just one thing: pork shoulder smoke roasted to fork tender perfection. But pitmasters all over the world love this crusty, well-marbled cut of meat. And today I'm going to show you how they cook pork shoulder in the Carolinas, in the Yucatan, and even Balinese style. No ifs, ands, or pork butts about it. In North Carolina, the meat is shredded and mixed with a thin vinegar sauce. In South Carolina, the meat is either shredded or thinly sliced and mixed with a mustard sauce. First, the Carolina version. And as you might imagine, it all begins with a rub. Start with powdered mustard, salt, pepper, that's black pepper, white pepper, sweet paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, and cayenne pepper. And don't worry about writing all this down, folks. The recipe is on our website. Mix the ingredients for the rub with your fingertips. That way you can break up any lumps in the powdered mustard. Now, sprinkle the pork shoulder with the mustard rub and rub it into the meat. Now, several options for smokers. This is a classic upright water smoker, affectionately nicknamed the Bullet. There's charcoal and wood chunks at the bottom, a drip pan in the center, and we'll simply place the pork shoulder on the top grate and close the lid. Now, there's a little trap door on one side of the smoker, and through it, we'll just add a couple of soaked hickory chunks. Then close this little trapdoor. Okay, the next step is to make the mop sauce. Starts with distilled white vinegar, Dijon style or ballpark style mustard, salt, black pepper, and water. The mop sauce is applied to the pork during cooking to keep it moist and add an extra layer of flavor. It's called a mop sauce because it's applied with one of these. If you visit a busy barbecue joint in the Carolinas, they actually use a clean floor mop to swab a couple dozen pork shoulders. I've got a couple of pork shoulder smoking right now, and this one is about halfway through the process. It's been in the smoker for 3 hours. Mop the pork shoulder about every hour. Now, this is a smoker that says you mean business. It's called an offset horizontal barrel smoker. This is the firebox, and you fill it with charcoal for heat and a big hickory log for the wood smoke. And the beauty of this device is it will enable you to smoke the pork shoulders low and slow, about 250 degrees for 6 hours. The way you tell what a cooked pork shoulder looks like will be tender enough to pull apart with your fingers. You can always use an instant read meat thermometer, and you want to cook the pork to about 190 degrees. So, bingo, we're in business. Let me pull these pork shoulders over. Oh man, this is barbecue paradise. Here is our finished pork shoulder. Traditional way of serving the pork is actually pulled into shreds with your fingers. Do you see this? This is called the smoke ring. It's a chemical reaction that takes place when you expose meat to smoke in a low temperature cooking environment. And this is the red badge of honor among pitmasters. It shows that you've nailed the pork. Now simply tear the pork into shreds, and look how tender and juicy this is. If I squeeze it, it almost squirts. So let me show you how to put it together. You take a hamburger bun and you fill it with our pulled pork. And then a spoonful of Carolina mustard sauce. The recipe's on our website. And a couple of sliced dill pickles. Now that's a sandwich you can shoulder up to. You have the smoky pork, the sour pickle, the tangy mustard sauce. This is what barbecue is all about. When I visited Bali for the first time, I wanted to see a traditional babi guling, a Balinese spit-roasted pork. And a pit master took me up on it. He had me wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We went to a farm. We selected the pig. And then as a great honor for this American journalist, he put the knife in my hand and let me do the deed. In a country obsessed by barbecue, babi guling is a national treasure. This spit-roasted pork from the island of Bali is enough to make any Indonesian's mouth water. The secret is a bumbu, a fiery paste made with ginger and fresh lemongrass. It's all about pork shoulder today, so let's fire up the rotisserie. Indonesia was once known as the Spice Islands, and its marinades are explosively flavorful. This one begins with shallots, chili peppers, chopped fresh ginger, finely chopped lemongrass, and this was what a whole lemongrass stalk looks like. If you squeeze it, it's got this incredible perfumed lemon flavor, but none of the acidity of a lemon. Next, garlic, ground coriander, black pepper, a little brown sugar for sweetness, coarse salt, and turmeric. And puree the dry ingredients. When I saw this being made on the island of Bali, they used a giant mortar and a pestle that looked like a baseball bat. Once the dry ingredients are pureed, then add a couple of tablespoons of vegetable oil and some fresh lime juice. One of the things that makes this spice paste unique is that you fry it before applying it to the meat. So what does frying do? Well, it releases the aromatic oils in the spices and lemongrass. This is unbelievably fragrant. So once the spice paste is fried, transfer it to a bowl and let it cool. This is a boneless pork shoulder, weighs about 4 pounds, and the next thing you do is butterfly it. Using a chef's knife, come in through the side and cut it in half almost to the other edge. Then open it up like a book, and in each half make a cut this way. The idea is to maximize the amount of surface area of the meat exposed to the spice paste. Okay, so once the meat is butterflied, take half the spice paste and spread it inside the pork roast. Then fold the pork roast together. And here's how you tie it up. Take 4 pieces of butcher string. What you'll do here is come around once, then loop twice. That's a surgeon's knot. And that locks the string in place so you can tie it off. Spread the remaining bamboo on the outside of the roast. Now you can cook the roast right away, but of course it will be more flavorful if you let it marinate in the refrigerator for 4 to 6 hours or even overnight. Okay, let's take a look at the grill. Smoke is not part of the Indonesian barbecue tradition, so this is a great recipe to prepare on a gas grill. I've preheated the rotisserie burner, and it's an infrared burner. That means it uses gas-heated ceramic honeycomb as the heat source. And if you want to speed the process up, you can light the outside burners, so you cook both by the radiant heat of the rotisserie burner and by indirect grilling. Okay, for the turn spit now, always remember to put the first set of prongs in place. And then we'll skewer the pork roast, and you want to snug it down on these prongs. Then grab the second set of prongs and use them to tightly secure the roast. Tighten that up. Okay. Finally, insert the end of the spit in the rotisserie motor and the other end in the junction. And remember to place a couple of aluminum foil drip pans under the roast before you turn on the motor. Okay, cooking time will be about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. So, a couple ways to check for doneness on the roast. I mean, first of all, you can see it's golden brown, firm to the touch, but the safe way is always to use an instant read meat thermometer, insert it to the center of the roast, but not touching that hot metal turn spit. You're looking for about 170 degrees. So, take off your babi gulik, unscrew the tines, and slide the roast off the spit. Now remember, you never want to serve a roast hot off the grill. You want to let it rest for about 10 minutes. The meat will relax. It will be much more juicy. And last of all, don't forget to remove the butcher string you used to tie up the roast. Let's slice the roast and see how we did. Look how succulent this roast is. You squeeze it and it actually oozes. The lemongrass, the ginger, it's incredibly fragrant. Roast pork with lemongrass and ginger, Indonesian yellow rice, cucumber salad, and sesame grilled beans. From the ranches of Arizona to the rice paddies of Indonesia, it's Balinese pork shoulder cooked to a turn. So I experienced my first cochinita pibil on the day of the Virgin of Guadalupe, a national religious holiday in Mexico that is celebrated with firecrackers and gunfire all around. And I had arranged to meet a master of cochinita pibil in a tiny village outside of Campeche on the western coast of the Yucatan Peninsula. The Mexican version of pulled pork is cochinita pibil. Born in the Yucatan, it's roasted in a special pit called a pibil. If you're looking for a great new way to cook pork shoulder, this one explodes with flavor. Now, there are two things that make cochinita pibil unique. The first is the marinade, and it starts with an ingredient that may be new for you. It's called achiote paste, and it's made with a Caribbean seed called achiote or annatto seed. It has a kind of a fragrant, earthy flavor. Now next, some garlic cloves, which I roasted at a previous grill session. And look, if you skewer them on a toothpick or small bamboo skewer, you won't lose them through the bars of the grate. Then some onion that has been roasted the same way. Just cut each piece in half so it will puree more evenly. Then freshly ground cumin and oregano, and salt and pepper to taste. And whenever you make a marinade in a food processor, always puree the dry ingredients first. Then gradually add your liquids, freshly squeezed lime juice, freshly squeezed orange juice, and a little red wine vinegar. With the tip of a knife, poke a series of holes about 1/2 inch deep on all sides of the pork shoulder. You do this so when you add the marinade, it will penetrate into the meat. Spread half the achiote paste on the bottom and place the pork shoulder on top. Then spread the remaining achiote marinade on top of the pork. And you can just force a little marinade into each of those holes. The cochinita pibil will taste great if you marinate it for 4 hours, and even better if you marinate it overnight. Today we're cooking the cochinita pibil in a charcoal grill. And just to refresh your memory, we're using lump charcoal, light it in a chimney starter, and at the bottom you can put either a crumpled newspaper or these paraffin fire starters. Takes about 20 minutes for the coals to light. Again, the beauty of the chimney starter is that it lights uniformly. We'll set up the grill for classic indirect grilling. What the heck's that mean? Well, dump the coals out into 2 mounds at opposite sides of the grill. One here. And this handle helps you guide your charcoal. Place 2 aluminum foil drip pans in the center of the grill to catch the drippings from the pork. Put the grill grate in place. And now the really cool part. Remember I told you there were 2 things that made cochinita pibil so distinctive. The first is the marinade, and the second is the fact that it's cooked in banana leaves. The banana leaves really do impart a unique flavor of their own. Fat side of the pork shoulder ultimately wants to be up, so we'll turn it upside down now. Because I'm going to turn this over, and then if we have any extra marinade, we can just smear it on top. Pull 1 banana leaf over, and the second folded this way, then a banana leaf on top here, and a banana leaf on top here. And you can just sort of pin this shut with a couple of long toothpicks or bamboo skewers. Okay, so in indirect grilling, the coals, the heat source on the outside, the pork roast goes in the center. I'm not going to bother to put wood chips or chunks on the coals. This recipe is really about the flavor of the achiote marinade and the banana leaves. So finally, to finish up, the lid goes on top. and we open the vent holes for maximum air circulation. You want to cook the pork at about 350 degrees. Cooking time, 2.5 hours, and we'll take the pork up to 190 degrees. Meanwhile, let me show you the traditional salsa that you serve with cochinita pibil. The salsa is called schnipek, literally dog snout salsa, perhaps because of its fiery bite. The active ingredient is the habanero chili, which is 50 times hotter than a jalapeno. To 1 finely chopped fresh tomato, add as much habanero chili as you can bear, then chopped fresh cilantro, diced sweet white onion, and lime juice and fresh orange juice. You'll see me use this combination a lot. The reason is that traditionally this salsa would be made with something called naranja agria, a sour orange, and its flavor is very similar to a mixture of orange juice and lime juice. You may not be able to find sour orange in your area, but you can always find oranges and limes. Wow, and that is a hottie. Check out our pibil pork shoulder. Now, it looks done, meat is soft, but just to make sure, use an instant read meat thermometer. You're looking for 190 degrees, and we're right on the mark. That is one monster pork shoulder. And as with any roast, you want to let the pork rest for about 10 minutes before you cut into it. The meat will relax and it will be much juicier. Final preparation, corn tortillas. I'm going to lightly toast them over the fire. How's that look? And I like to serve it right in the banana leaves. Let me show you how to eat this baby. Just cut off a chunk here. And cut into thin slivers. Okay, and here's how it goes together. Tortilla, a little cochinita pibil, some schnipek salsa, and Yucatan pickled onions. The recipe's on our website. Man, this is outrageous. So, smoky Carolina-style pulled pork, sizzling Balinese babiguli on a spit, fiery cochinita pibil from the Yucatan. It's pork shoulder from around the world. See you next time. I'm in a hangar. It's pitch black, gunfire going off all around me. And in front of me, it looks like an impromptu cemetery. There are mounds of dirt. My host grabs a shovel and scrapes away the dirt in one of these graves. And in it is a metal box. And inside the metal box is a pig that's been marinated in a mixture of achiote seed, a mixture actually that's called recado rojo.